President Trump is set to give a joint address to Congress tomorrow, where he's expected to tout what he believes are his early second-term successes. According to two sources, Trump circulated his speech among top advisors this weekend, along with taking part in some prep. The president's expected to focus on his administration's work on immigration, eliminating diversity inclusion programs, tariffs, and budget cuts executed by DOJ during his address. After the speech, Trump is set to stay in Washington and amplify his message from the White House rather than travel the country, as is typical after a joint address. Vice President J.D. Vance, however, is expected to take his place to highlight the administration's message on the road. Joining us now, White House correspondent for The Hill, Alex Gangitano. Alex, talk a little bit about what we're expecting from this address. We just laid out some of the obvious highlights, but what else?
Yeah, I think he'll be touting just a lot of the accomplishments. I mean, we've heard them say time and time again that this last month was the most successful month in presidential history for a first return to the White House in this case. Yeah. But I think it's going to be a lot of patting themselves on the back for things like these mass deportation plans. You mentioned immigration is going to be a focus of this. Ending DEI policies, that's such a big talking messaging point for Republicans. But I also think a lot is going to be about DOJ, because this is something the president has defended. He's proud of. He brought Elon Musk into his cabinet meeting last week. I think he wants to talk about it. And he also wants to kind of defend it in the sense of there are some members of Congress who are skeptical about these cuts, about some of their constituents losing jobs, about where the money from these cuts are going to go. Is it going to go back to taxpayers? It's going to go to the deficit? I think he has to answer some of those questions. And then, of course, it goes without saying, I think there'll be some fireworks. I think there'll be some big announcements. I mean, he hasn't not made news in any of these big moments in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, and tariffs certainly expected to be among those potential announcements as we wait to see what he does in regards to China's already existing tariffs, but then also in regards to Canada and Mexico. Right. But I think with Trump, when we talk about trumpeting of achievements, it doesn't seem like this is going to be a speech that even tries to play the unity card, which Trump has tried to play in the past. And even we saw it on display during the inauguration. Yeah. Sure, the initial remarks might have extended some kind of an olive branch, but then he made very divisive and controversial remarks minutes later downstairs in a different part of the Capitol. So it seems like they're maybe not even trying this time.
That's right. I don't think there'll be any part of this remarks that has Hakeem Jeffries leaving the room saying, I want to help prevent a government shutdown with these folks now. I think it's going to be a lot of Republicans are leading the way. We're doing all the right things, and we're taking on these culture wars. And I think that's something that's going to frustrate a lot of Democrats, is the idea that these culture wars are what Republicans care about the most, whereas they're trying to figure out ways that they could work with Republicans in a bipartisan way. We're also going to probably hear him, take some jabs at former President Biden, things like that the president loves doing. That's just not messages of unity.
Yeah. The other question I have is, why is he not taking the show on the road? This is a guy who loves to be in that rally environment, arguably sometimes more than he enjoys his time in the Oval Office. At least that was true seemingly in the first term.
Yeah, that's something we've been wondering for weeks. I mean, his supporters love seeing him, as you mentioned, at these rallies. That's where he shines. That's where his people want to see him. And he's been between the White House and Florida back and forth. And so he really hasn't had these, campaign-style rallies that he loved doing in his first term when he was the sitting president and not necessarily campaigning the whole time. It is a tradition, like you said, to go on the road. But he really has been keeping this cadence of, I'm in Washington, I'm working hard, I'm talking to the press every day from the Oval Office as I sign executive orders. And I guess he wants to keep that balance. We'll see if in the summer he decides to hit the road.
Letting J.D. Vance be the messenger on the road, at least for now. I know that the speech is likely to be domestically focused, and yet so much happening on the world stage. What do you think the way that he talks about Ukraine and Russia, how do you think that manifests? I imagine that's going to be a flashpoint.
Right. After that explosive meeting on Friday with Ukrainian President Zelensky, I think there'll be a lot of also him saying, I put America first. I made Republicans who have been skeptical about Ukraine funding under the Biden administration happy by questioning Zelensky and if he was thankful enough. I actually think it's going to be a rallying point for him with Republicans.
Yeah, it very likely could be with Republicans, although as we started the show, there are some Republicans willing to say this is not the way that we should talk about our friends and our allies, especially not Ukraine. We will see. All eyes on where that relationship goes next. White House correspondent for The Hill, Alex Gangitano, thank you as always.